It's gotten to the point now where Kickstarter itself is calling the campaigns scams. What is going on? How do we get to this point where it's this bad to where Kickstarter is finally actually making a stance on it? Why they are so late? Why I told you about it sooner, but yet I try to resist some strong language. But you know what's not? Kickstarter. Scam, scam, scam. Let's get to it. Alright, so as you can see, Toyso, the board game table here. If you're a longtime viewer of this channel, then you know what this is. If not, welcome aboard. Scam, scam, scam. This is not photoshopped. This is like the legit thing. Link down in the description below to this scam of a campaign. You can see for yourself, it's a scam. Now, how do we get to this point? I'll dive in just a moment. But first, a shout out to my sponsor of today's video, Into the AM, who make fantastic quality apparel that I stand by fully 100%. When it talks about a complete opposite of a company, Into the AM makes great quality product for you, and it fits great, it feels great, it is great. I'm wearing one of their shirts now, and actually one of their jeans now. This is not an OnlyFans thing. I'm actually just showing you that I am wearing the jeans. They are fantastic. If you look at their website, you can save 10% additional on top of any sales. They're having a spring refresh right now. Here are their jeans. We're calling them stretch denim jeans. They're actually a little bit thinner, a little bit more stretchy. They fit and feel great though. I don't have to wear a belt with them. They stay on me. They are super comfortable, and they actually have some really cool packages as well. So for instance, here is a relaxed button-up, non-branded legacy stretch pants as well. So what this is a bit more than the normal, and you get the nice button-up shirt as well. They are great. I wear them at work all the time. They're super comfortable. Seriously, take a look. They have a ton of great stuff, some good sales right now, some new stuff with the spring refresh, like their jeans, and I cannot tell you enough how great they are. Seriously, they're fantastic. Save yourself an additional 10% down in the description below. Use that special code. All right, so Toyso scam. As you can see here, Kickstarter has restricted this creator. It says here, Kickstarter's trust and safety team has investigated user reports associated with this project and or its creator. We have reached out to the creator multiple times requesting project updates and communication with backers. As the creator has not responded or provided updates in over 90 days, we have restricted the creator's account from launching future projects on Kickstarter. Thank you, everyone who sent in reports. Now, there are several issues. Okay, there are many issues with this. I'm going to dive into some of them because some of them involve your money. Some of them involve how late this is. Some of them involve how you can get out of this as a creator, and just really a whole host of issues. All right, so let's dive into at least the first part of this, which is how late it is. So if you look on my channel here, a whole year ago, I made a video with the Toyso game table image there, and just big ol' lies right there. Too cheap to be true, an investigation. I really dove into it. It's easy, 44 minutes. I really dove into this and put in great detail how this was obviously a scam from the get-go. It was very obvious. The only people that went into it and actually backed it either were fine risking the money, believed in them anyway, or just honestly didn't know, right? They're new to the Kickstarter. They don't understand the history of all these things about how things were funding and being canceled. I cover this stuff all the time, so feel free, whether it's indies or the industry, you can stay up to date with a subscribe. So feel free to do that because I do try to keep you guys informed as consumers on this. Okay, so this was already a year ago, very obvious. I worked really hard to try and let you guys know, hey, this is a scam, and let you guys tell other people, hey, this is a scam, but not everybody reads comments, and everybody's watching YouTube on Kickstarter board game table videos, right? Like, that's a niche of a niche of a niche at this point, and I totally get it. So while I reached 11,000 people, there was more that still did fall for it, and that's why you can see here that they still had 1,383 backers, giving them $426,610 USD dollars. This was back when it was worth something too. Seriously, it's unfortunate this succeeded at all, that this funded at all. Why did it take so long? Well, as you can see that they reached out multiple times, and even after multiple times gave them 90 days to provide an update, and they still didn't. So after multiple attempts, after waiting 3 whole months, they finally said, you know what, this is totally, like, not a legit. That's obviously too late. People have already taken their money. It's why I do prototype reviews of board games. Even though it's a prototype, even though I'm getting something from the company and there's that little bit of potential bias that you guys have to judge me on, that's totally fine because it's worth it to give you an opinion when they're asking for money, not afterwards when it's delivered and it's too late and you've already given them their money. That's the whole point. Same thing by looking at this. If you wait too long, it's already too late. So obviously, they're really slow on this. They had to have people report it. They couldn't monitor their own stuff, apparently. In fact, they had to approve this originally and did approve it. And it wasn't until the actual people that lost money told them, hey, this is a scam, that they finally, eventually, after giving them multiple attempts, responding, said, okay, yeah, it's probably a scam. This button, by the way, just links literally to the update page. You can't, give them money or anything like that. That being said, I didn't take a look. Their campaign is still, fully visible. And I don't know if there's any links in here or anything like that. That is kind of a risk. I'm surprised they didn't clear this out like they do if there's a copyright infringement. Often they'll remove that. I know Mythic Games had that issue at one point. But apparently you can still see the whole thing and still know about the company and still click on this and all that. They just marked everything a scam. It's whatever. Okay. It says that you're a backer. I gave $1 to the scammers so that I could see updates because sometimes they hide updates to backers only to hide information from people that might be trying to cover it but weren't backers at the time. So I did that literally for you guys. They can have my $1, I guess, and burn it or something. Okay, so it was obviously a scam. They're really late, but now they finally labeled it. How did it get to the point where they're actually labeling this? This is honestly a lot on you guys as consumers, really voicing displeasure at how bad campaigns have been lately for a lot of creators. Not all creators. Some are doing a fantastic job making super cool games. But there have been some like this or similar that just have obviously never really tried to actually deliver the game, right? They're not doing updates. If they are doing updates, they're bogus BS updates just to appease you, which leads me to how you get out of this and why there's a problem here. So as they said here, we have not heard back. Now, there have been times where I have covered campaigns where they have reached out and heard back from the creator saying, yeah, I'm trying. And they say, cool, and then leave. And that can go on for a year, 2 years, 5 years, years and years and years and years. In fact, there are some old campaigns that are still around that aren't marked as scam that never delivered and never will. They're not even trying. They're not doing updates. It's just not enough people are reporting it because they've already given up. And Kickstarter isn't going to be proactive in that and said they are only reactive, which leads to another problem. But I want to kind of stick to this point that it is so easy to just appease them. All you have to do is show attempts. And that's what those BS updates are. Well, we made this art piece and we changed the wording here and we did some play testing here. And you tell them that, they go about their merry way. You keep making money off of people who aren't as informed and don't understand what they're getting into. And Kickstarter still gets their cut if they can as well, or you launch another campaign and get even more. Because the problem is, when they say, thank you everyone who sent reports, this thank you is quite hollow. Because one thing you're not doing is giving you back the money that they made off of you as well. You see, when they made $426,610 on Kickstarter, Kickstarter got some of your money. Not just this scam company. Kickstarter has some of your money. They took a little bit off the top. Thank you for advertising on Kickstarter. We provided this platform. Here's our cut of it, right? Maybe as upwards of 10% or so, right? So a fairly significant percentage of that money didn't go to Toyso, but went to Kickstarter. You know, the people who let it go there, let them run it, let them take your money, even though I was making videos, even though 11,000 people saw this video about how it was a scam, how they were liars, how this was never even possible, how everything they said was changed after the fact, whether it was how it charged or the battery or anything like that. They kept being very obviously fake, paying their own employees to pretend to be customers and play with it and stuff like that. And they recorded an internal video and whatever. It was bogus. It was a lie. It was a scam from the get-go. But Kickstarter allowed it to happen, allowed it to take money from you, and then way later says, oh, hey, that was a scam. Thank you for that money. We're not going to give it back to you. Thanks. Appreciate it. We're going to keep it. But thanks for reporting it. It rings hollow when there's not really anything done when it matters. The reason I brought up prototype reviews is because that is something that I originally on this channel said no to. For over a year, I said no to company after company that would send me an email back when I had my little Gmail account before I even had a website, right? They were trying to be like, hey, let me send you the game and you can review it. And I said, no, that creates bias. If I take something from you, anything at all, even if it's necessary to review it, you sent a product and now I got this prototype for free. And some people might think that that has now bought my opinion, and I don't want that. But I quickly realized as these scam campaigns kept going on, as these issues, this manipulation, as all of this stuff happened, that there were times where they were making a campaign that looked like a game, but when you actually got the game, you couldn't actually play it. This happened several times, actually, where I had some issues with the prototype and voiced it out to you guys, saving you guys some trouble. Now, sometimes those have still turned out okay. It just lets you know kind of where they're at in the prototype thing, but it allows me an avenue to tell you my honest opinion on something that I can actually mess with at the time that they're asking money, because that's when it matters. This happens afterwards. Kickstarter already has your money. Kickstarter's already spent your money. I'm sure they quite enjoyed the percentage of this scam that they're marking as a scam, but they ain't offering refunds. They ain't sending it back to you. They allowed them to go through. Doing it after the campaign doesn't matter. The damage is already done. The 1,393 people that had their money stolen still had their money stolen. Do you think they're coming back to Kickstarter? Do you think the majority of them are going to come back, see that, oh, hey, Kickstarter afterwards marked it as a scam. Of course, I'm still out the money and no product. Useless. Next to useless. In fact, mildly insulting. So while I am glad that they are taking a quote-unquote stance of marking it as a scam, as a scam, as a scam, having actively listed scams on their website is not an ideal thing. But it can't actually hurt that much when the people that really got hurt, the people that already had their money stolen, still have it stolen. There's no refunds. There's no direct apologies. There's no credits. There's no reaching out. It's just, hey, yeah, sorry, there was a scam that we profited from. Sorry we were so late on it. I wish we could have known beforehand. I wish that there weren't actively people covering it with over 10,000 views. I wish that there wasn't comment after comment after comment on my comment section on my website that I host saying this is a scam, warning people this is a scam, reporting it. I'm sorry I waited till after I got your money and well after the fact to finally say, oh yeah, I guess you guys were right. Maybe we should have listened the first time. Maybe it shouldn't be that easy to scoot by. Monolith did an update. I never ended up diving into it because it is rather technical, and I need to figure out a way to cover it more. But one of the things they were talking about is how you can make it to where these BS updates, this false attempt at selling a game through a campaign, through pretty pictures, through loose wording of what mechanics are and stuff like that, isn't enough to actually get through. That the threshold of entry is a bit more. Does that hurt the super indies? Not really. And the reason I say that is because any actual indie that's actually going to deliver something is sophisticated enough to actually do that. If you're not sophisticated and organized enough to make a campaign page that actually has like concrete information or clearly states where you're at and what your intentions are, and you can't clearly update that, then you can't clearly make and construct a good board game with hard and fast rules that play well, that are balanced well with the logistics of making that and then delivering that to people across the world. If you can't do that, you can't do the other. I'm fine with that threshold, and I think the threshold should be higher. It should be more difficult to actually make a campaign. Now, this is GameFound too. I recently covered a game just on the last news video on GameFound that has just a whole bunch of like AI art and isn't funding well. And luckily, it's not funding well, and not because they aren't like making a good game. They're probably making a great game, but because you have to make it to where it's organized enough to be sellable. And if you can't sell the game, if you can't actually market the game and make that, then I'm very cautious to send my viewers to you to spend their money, because I value that money and I feel like I value it more than a lot of creators do. And that's a problem. If you aren't willing to go through the extra effort, if you aren't willing to, and I'm not talking about any particular creator here, just in general, if you aren't willing to actually like put your best foot forward and really do a good job on it and save up and organize and rework and market and do all this stuff, then what are you doing with the people's money, right? Like what is that? It's just unfortunate that a big company like Kickstarter fails to do the very thing they set out to do, which is pair great creators with backers who believe in them and want a great product out of it and want to be able to have that product be fulfilled. Kickstarter now doesn't care, right? And in fact, I believe even up here, there's one of these. I saw them. Yeah, Kickstarter doesn't care about scammers. Very true. They don't. Because they make money off scammers. And they have that short-sighted view of it to where they don't realize that they're hurting all of crowdfunding when they do that. When they allow something like Toyso to fund and take the people that signed up on their website, Kickstarter.com, their money, when people are reporting it, when people are concerned, when people point out to evidence of how this isn't a thing, when the confidence is so low. I manage a team at my current company, and one of the things I always talk about is, what is your confidence level? Right? We do these sprints. If you don't know software development or agile methodology of sprints, it's fine. Essentially, we promise the other teams in the organization, the company, the users, members, whatever it is, hey, in 2 weeks, we're going to do this amount of work. And if there's ever a time where the confidence is low, and I'm talking like less than 50%, I'm talking less than like 60, even 70, if we're not very confident we're going to deliver it, I want to communicate that right away. I want to be like, hey, guess what? Caution. Is Kickstarter doing that? Hey, you know what? There's a lot of fuss over this. We're not super sure we trust this other entity, this Toyso. And so while we're hosting them, just as an FYI, just as a warning, are they doing that? No. And then when it gets so obvious, when there's whole videos and comments and people doing research about how this is impossible to do, when you have other manufacturers, other companies coming in and leaving comments saying this literally doesn't work, financially doesn't work, it is literally impossible, this is not a thing, and I'm willing to work with Kickstarter or anybody to show you the actual numbers on how that's not possible. There was literally comments like that here. When it's so low that, hey, you know what? It's actually unlikely this is going to deliver. Maybe it will. Maybe there's a revolutionary way to do it. But you know what? We're going to let our users know. The users of Kickstarter.com, the actual people that we're about to make money off of. Hey, FYI, we're not so sure about this. It seems like a pipe dream. They won't even do that. But a year later, they'll market a scam. Color me not impressed. Guys, do your research. This is a niche group, right? Everybody watching this video right now, you are part of a very niche group. You are a niche of a niche. There are only so many people that are backing crowdfunded board games. And of those people, especially with how many IPs are being used now to draw in people that are new, because those of us that have been here a while are getting a little tired of it sometimes. We need to help let as many people as we can know. Some of that is comments, but sadly, most people, especially when they back a campaign like this, especially when they're new, they check in once, they give their credit card information, they click the back button, and they back out, and they never view it again. They're not reading an update again. They're not reading comments. They're not reading responses. They're not even reading their emails. Half the time, these companies struggle to get people to get the product they paid for because they're not responding to the pledge manager. They had no idea what it was, and they're not checking their email. Okay? We need to go outside of that, whether it's Board Game Geek, whether it's Facebook groups, whether it's comments, whether it's checking ads on Facebook or anything like that, and making sure that we go on their Instagram account, making sure that and it doesn't just have to be my video, anybody covering it on YouTube, that it gets the recognition it needs to be shared, to be recommended, so that we can get the word out outside of their control. Because Kickstarter also allowed backers or creators to block accounts, to issue refunds and then remove all of their comments because they're being negative. So they can try and silence you on Kickstarter. In fact, there are websites like Board Game Geek that like to silence their users as well, even if they have an opinion that may not be super popular or against something that the moderator likes or all sorts of stuff. That's been well documented too. Do what you got to do, but try and help each other, because at the end of the day, this niche group of board gamers needs to support ourselves. Nobody's going to do it for us. Kickstarter's not doing it for us. GameFound isn't even really doing it for us. They kind of ride the line, and sometimes they do some really good consumer stuff, and sometimes they make their money off the companies running campaigns, not necessarily you backing them, if that makes sense. It's kind of a double-edged sword where they have to keep not just your best interest, but also their best interest and how they can do that. I get the line that they're writing, but it is a ride that they're lining, right? Unlike somebody completely outside of it, they are definitely in it with a lot of these creators. And so it's a hard line to run. And really, you just can't rely on anybody but us, right? So if you see something, say something. I tried with the lies. I tried with the video. It helps somewhat, I'm sure. I hope. I'm not always right on when I call it out, but I will speak my mind. And you need to as well. And Kickstarter marking this as a scam is kind of funny, especially a year later when it doesn't matter. Let me know your thoughts on this. I don't like to cover necessarily all the negativity in this space because I think there is positivity in here. There are great companies making great products, making cool games that you should support. Because at the end of the day, again, this is a niche group, and if we like something, we need to support it. If we don't like something, we need to let others know. It goes both ways. So I'll try to balance it out. But this one, I definitely wanted to cover it because I think it is important to note how little this actually helps. Well after the fact. I imagine the page views of the Toyso board game campaign that ran over a year ago gets very little page views. It does very little good. It's almost insulting to mark it as a scam now. But, hey, you know what? Small wins, right? Sure. Thanks for marking it as a scam, Kickstarter. Let me know when you catch up to the rest of us. All right, that's it. That's all I have, guys. Thank you so much. As always, thank you to my patrons for allowing a small channel like this to be able to cover the things that are real like this, right? I try to speak my mind. I try to be open. I try to not rely on any like real board game company, but instead rely on you guys. And my patrons definitely support that. They are what drives this channel. So thank you so much to them and the YouTube members. There is a link down in the description below to that. Additionally, even great companies like Into the AM, they sponsor videos all the time. Love them, love their product. I love showing you guys good product as well, not even just board games. Into the AM makes great stuff too. Using that link down in the description below helps support the channel as well. Not that I get kickback from it, but they find a good audience that appreciates a good quality product. I save you some money. You get some cool stuff out of it. Everybody wins, right? So feel free to check that out as well. But if nothing else, a like and a comment do help get videos like this seen more, which in turn hopefully helps people realize what's actually going on out there. Guys, have a great rest of your day. Take care. Bye, guys.